I've colored all of my houses. I think they came out really, really well. And I also want to just call out the attention of adding in those glossy accent drops into the windows, because you can just see how it looks like a glass pane. It's a really, really nice effect. I love what it does with the yellow, but also with the gray of making it look like the lights are out. I'm really happy overall with how these houses came out, as well as the pieces of fence. You know, they look old, and that was the intent. The other thing I also did is, since I'm also making a Santa Claus box, I colored my Santa Claus. Again, this is colored using just alcohol markers. And I did use a little of a white acrylic paint pen on the sleeves, on the little center part of his suit, and on the band of the hat. But other than that, this is all done using alcohol markers. I was able to do several swipes over with the same red color to get a little bit of aging onto that bag. The same thing with his Santa suit. The beard just used the lightest gray that I have and the lightest tan. I think it's some kind of a white, a tannish white. Went over the beard, went over with two different greens on the leaves, and then also with the chimney. I used a regular light gray, and then I used brick beige over it. I think that, he's just gorgeous. This is really a nice and easy project. So I have the houses done. I then went ahead and did a couple of more steps to be able to start assembling pretty soon. So on the inside, I went ahead and created this background paper. And this was super easy to do. I'm going to show you how I achieved this. This is just navy blue 65-pound cardstock that I sprayed with Winter Frost Tim Holtz Distress Mica. And then I used a white spray ink, and this particular one is pure white, and it's from Altenew. And I just sprayed that over. I dried it, and then just cut it down to size to fit in to the into the box. And that's going to provide the nice nighttime backdrop, as well as the little bits of white and the little bit of shimmer look like snow that are falling. I also went ahead and created a brick sidewalk. Really easy to do. I achieved that by using some cream cardstock and the Tim Holtz Sizzix 3D Fades brick embossing folder. So easy. You just run it through. And then this is just a combination of some antique linen distress ink, some hickory smoke, a little bit of weathered wood, and then I have the Lost Shadow Distress Oxide ink, and I put the oxide on top just to kind of give it that smoother, aged look. So now I have a sidewalk over on this side as well. And I've already thought about how I want to lay this out. I'm going to do the larger house, because if I do the larger inside, that's the only house that will fit. So I'm going to do the larger house and the skinny house on the cover over here. Could also do another strip of the brick, but where it would be flat against the cover and it wouldn't be 3D. I decided against that, so we'll just have the backdrop of the sky there. And then I'm going to put these two houses on the inside. And if anything will fit, I'm not quite sure that in this particular box any of the fence will fit, and it looks like it won't. But that's okay. You know, the fence is a nice have, not a must have in my opinion. But I'm going to, this is how I'm going to arrange the houses. A few more things I need to do. One is I want to cut out the words Merry Christmas to put over on the side up in the sky. Over here in the sky, I want to have Santa in a sleigh. So I have stamps and I have dies that could achieve that. I'm thinking I'm going to cut it out on some black cardstock. And then I'm going to consider if I want to add in some LED fairy lights. So first things first, let's get the words Merry Christmas cut out. And I'll discuss with you what medium I'm going to use to do that. We'll get Santa in a sleigh cut out. I'm going to choose the die that I like the most for that. And we'll get those into place. And then we will talk about wrapping it up. Okay, so I stamped and cut out my Santa and sleigh using my favorite one from a Hero Arts kit from last Christmas. And what I did is I had a scrap piece of the background paper. So in order to help it blend in so that, you know, you don't see any obvious like white or black up against the blue, I just went ahead and stamped it onto the piece of scrap paper and then cut it out. And what I also then did is I put some double-sided foam tape on there. And when I adhere it down, I will remove the strips from the double-sided foam tape, which a little trick is when I had put it on, it's thin, this die cut, so I could see a little bit of white peeking out by the reindeer from the tape. Excuse me. So I just went ahead and took a black alcohol marker, ran it along the top, and that just blends it in so you don't even see it then. But what I'm going to do is, in addition to using the adhesive on the double-sided foam tape, I'm also going to just run some glue, some craft glue, onto the double-sided foam tape, just to act as an extra source of security and stickiness there. So I can already see that I have a little bit of dried glue at the top. Let me get that off. If any of you have not seen this yet, this is the new glue press from My Sweet Petunia, the maker of the Misty. This is an awesome tool. I know this isn't what I'm speaking to you about right now, but it just makes precision gluing so much easier. You just press down on the handle and presto, here comes your glue. It is so awesome. And you're going to see me use it again when I put the words Merry Christmas onto this display. So let's get Santa up in the sky. And I want him to be overhead. So I am going to go right about there in the center and press him down, and that looks good. And I love that with the blue paper, the blue scrap paper, he just blends right into the sky. That's perfect. Now I want to get my Merry Christmas over here, and so for those words I just used this is from Sizzix and Tim Holtz. It's the Thinlits words, and this is the Joy set, so it's all Christmas and the holidays. So I took the Merry Christmas from there and cut it out onto some white cardstock. Merry, and then I have Christmas over here. To get those adhered down, I'm going to use the glue press again. Get my glue on the back here, and this is where this really comes in handy. Because sometimes you can struggle with trying to be precise with a word like this, but honestly, this tool just makes it so much easier. It just glides along, and you don't have to like put a whole lot of pressure onto the trigger either. It It's really, really helpful. And you can use whatever type of glue you would like with it because it comes with an empty bottle that you can add your own glue into. So whatever, I find that we're all very loyal to certain glues. So I'm using the Nuvo glue that came with it, which I believe is from Tonic, and it works really well. I like it. So I'm using that first since that was a full bottle that came with it. Let's get that on there, almost done. Want to make sure I get good coverage. And for the placement, carefully turn it around. And since it's on cardstock, it is going to bend and it does kind of move around a bit, but I want it to be up in the sky. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but certainly I don't want it to be, you may wish to put it on an angle. You can really do whatever you'd like. I think that looks pretty good there like that. And then we'll put the Christmas on. And then I'll come back. I'm just going to get the glue on here. And then I'll be back to discuss the buildings, getting some snow onto the buildings, adhering the buildings down, and then the decision of to light or not to light. That is the question. Okay, so Merry Christmas is on there. Santa and the sleigh are on there. Now, for adding some snow, this grit paste by Distress, part of the Tim Holtz line from Ranger. Amazing stuff. You can use just like a little palette knife, and a little goes a long way. So just mix it up, get it on your palette knife. And now what you can do is just add a little bit of snow onto the rooftops. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I say that a lot, I realize that, but that's because, things don't look perfect in real life always. And, but that looks pretty nice. Just getting a little snow onto the roofs. That little extra added Christmas magic, if you will. And this stuff will dry, and it has kind of like a sandy consistency. It's a gritty, I should say. But when you use a knife like this, you can get into nooks and crannies. So let's say you want to get some onto the ledge right there. It's so easy just to take it, spread it along, and voila, you have some snow on the upper edge of that house. So easy, so fun to work with. I really love doing this. And it doesn't take a lot, just a little. That's all you need, just a little. So I'm going to do this to the buildings. I may also put a little bit down on the sidewalk as well, just to, give it that magical look. And I'll go over it with you. I'll show you what I end up doing. But this is fun. This is the basics of it. You can easily do this as you build yours. And, just think about where those little nooks are where some snow might accumulate. You might get some in one area. Maybe you don't want to put it in another, Just use your imagination. After all, this is your little village, and you can make it look however you'd like. So I'll show you what I end up with once I'm done. Okay, so the snow's on the buildings, and I'm quite happy. Just place some on the roof, little nooks where some might accumulate. On one of the houses where there is a little bit of a ledge in the front, put some in the corners. Also added some into the onto the sidewalk. So everything looks good. And now I'm going to start placing the houses on there. And I want some dimension. I don't want them just flat against. So I want them to you know, stick forward a bit. So I'm going to use these little foam tape squares. So a combination of these squares with some craft glue. Gonna, put, I don't want to say a lot, but definitely enough of these squares on to make sure that there's a good amount of contact with the book box itself, to make sure that it will stay in place. Other ways that you could do this, you could use hot glue. With hot glue, you probably wouldn't get the dimension that I'm particularly looking for. You could use regular, just craft glue, but again, it would be flat. There wouldn't be any extra added dimension there. So I'm going to go ahead and, as you can see, I just arranged them, peel off the back, and then I'm going to put some glue on as well and get that stuck in place, and I will show you how that looks. The Christmas book box is done. Here's the village one. Have the house over here, some snow on the ground. You have the houses over here. I did fit a fence. I did use the fences after all. Santa up in the sky, Merry Christmas in the sky over there. Really pretty. I know I had said I was going to decide about the fairy lights. I'm thinking that I'm not going to do them because when you keep it open as a decoration, there's enough light getting in there. But if I decide to do that, it's going to be really, really easy. All you have to do is take a sharp tool, like the other end of one of the, I call it a poker tool, kind of like, actually I'll just grab one and show you, like this. You'll poke a hole. I would probably do the bottom, so then you could have the wire come around and have the battery for the fairy lights in the back. Then you just bring them up and you can run them around, and you would just glue them down. If you didn't want to glue them down, the batteries, you can change the batteries in those battery packs. If you didn't want to glue it down, you could always use some kind of little clip to go around, but honestly, I think there's enough light that I'm not going to do that. So there's the village one, and I also finished the Santa one, which has the word believe, a stacked tree with some gold in the center, and then there's Santa right there. Really pretty. And I kept the paper that was originally lining the box. An idea you could do is to use that blue background like I have in the village and put that back there so it looks like he's actually, like, outside going down the chimney. Could certainly do that. That would be a great idea. And if you do that, I would probably put Santa down closer, because there's no roof or anything to show that way. But these are really easy to make. I think that, with showing you the molds and the coloring of the items, they're so easy to use. They're gorgeous. I really like the way these turned out. Do this to show you both once again. I'm pretty sure that my sisters are going to love these as well. Thanks for spending the time with me to go through this. If you have any questions at all, please ask them in the comments. I'd be happy to get back to you. And I can also post links to the molds that I used, so that you can find them on Etsy as well. Merry Christmas.